Hi, this is Bill Varney from Fish the Surf and your saltwater guide with your fish report for Thursday, January 23rd. Well, let's start up in Santa Barbara, let's make our way up the coast again and see what's going on up there. The good news today that we learned up in Santa Barbara is that the water has really cleaned up quite a bit over the last week or so, and fishing up there has picked up also. A lot of the bigger barred perch up in that area have begun to bite finally, and I think that a lot of that has to do with the fact that the water temperature has come down a little bit, and of course that gives them the key in order for them to go ahead and spawn. You know, a lot of perch, they don't have calendars, so they need to go by water temperature or length of day or things like that tell them what to do. So there's been some really good barred perch fishing up there for those 10 to 13 inch barred perch. I know there's some bigger ones up there too. And some of the hot spots up there have been Ledbetter Beach, really from the harbor all the way up to the point there in Ledbetter. I know down a ways from there, probably another 200 or 300 yards west on the beach or north on the beach there where the steps come down. We used to call it 1,000 Broken Bottles. That also has had some good perch fishing in that area. There's also been some good perch fishing along East Beach and then down in the Graveyards area. So Graveyards would be just south of East Beach, below the White Estate there. There's been not only good perch fishing because there's some rocks around in that area, but another thing that a lot of folks don't know about there is it's always been really good for halibut fishing, and probably coming up in another month here, about 45 days, we'll see the grunion run, so I know the halibut will be coming in there. But it's always been particularly good there because the White Estate, which was established right around the beginning of the 1900s, they built these metal groins out into the ocean there. There's 3 or 4 of them in a row. They are mostly in the summer, if not completely covered by sand in the summer, and then they expose themselves in the winter as that sand washes off the beach. They are covered with limpets and crabs, like sidewinder crabs, all kinds of food like that for fish, particularly halibut. And during the winter time, those halibut will congregate near those metal groins. So go below the White Estate at a high tide, often fish a 6 inch or so white battlestar bait, lucky crap bait, or a swim bait in that area. You'll have a really good shot at some big halibut there in Santa Barbara. And then going down to Carpenteria, we've had some okay fishing for small barred perch off in that Santa Claus Lane area, that straight off of the city beach area there in Carpenteria. But once again, if you hike a little bit south of there and make your way down toward the oil pier, you'll find some big rocks very close to shore. There's some very, very big perch in that area. I guarantee you they're biting down there now. Down in Ventura, or if I could just finish before that, is if you are looking for bait or tackle or anything like that out of Santa Barbara, please stop by Hook, Line, and Sinker. They're on Cali Real, right off of Upper State Street. So working our way down to Ventura, the bite down to Ventura for big perch once again is heated up too. It's been good barred perch, big barred perch fishing down in that area, along with walleyed surf perch. Really, some of the hottest areas down there have been really from about the Santa Clara River mouth all the way down to the dunes area, the Oxnard Dunes area. That kind of stretch of beach, it's a couple miles along there, has had some excellent perch fishing, especially now that the swell has mitigated and we've got this smaller swell, because remember, those are west-facing beaches. Anglers have found that grubs, 2-inch motor oil colored grubs, Castmasters crocodiles have worked for those perch. Some of those real big ones have been caught on the Battlestar and Lucky Crap bait. And then there's been a lot of anglers using lugworms down in that area, have had very, very good luck on the beach with those lugworms. So much of Ventura has been good for perch. We haven't heard anything about striper or any other fish there, and that's pretty much what we've heard along the coast too. Mostly big barred perch all the way down the coast. And then when we make our way down to Malibu, you know, we're still dealing with a fire situation and the issues down there. But anglers who are fishing between about El Matador Beach, which is about half a mile or so before you get to Leo Carrillo State Beach, from there all the way up to Point Magoo, and particularly at Thornhill Broom State Beach. It's been some very, very good barred perch fishing for some really big barred perch and a few calico bass in that area. Anglers once again there are using strips of squid, particularly for those calico bass, the hard baits, those Battlestar and Lecky craft baits, and then also lugworms and bloodworms. All of those have worked very well in the area around Malibu. That will continue to be good. Malibu will continue to be good throughout the winter for these bigger perch, because remember, that part of the coast is in large part protected from the surf, protected from a lot of these storms and so forth, and provides some very good fishing. And I think there's very little pressure over there, because if you're not really coming down from Ventura, it's really hard to get up there on PCH from the Santa Monica area. And then as we make our way down to the South Bay, and a great shop down there to check out is Just Fishing by Pete. And I would also talk to them about, what kind of bait you want to use in the surf, what kind of setups you want. Pete can be really helpful with that information. There have been some barred perch and some walleye perch all along the South Bay there in Manhattan, Hermosa, and Torrance Beach. But it's been somewhat slow. And although it looks like it's going to pick up because the swell is mitigated, we do have this rainstorm coming in, and of course that South Bay is facing directly west, so may slow down a bit this weekend and certainly pick up next week. It looks like we're going to have another Santa Ana event at that time. Orange County, of course, a great place always to go in Orange County for bait, advice, rigging, is Big Fish Tackle in Seal Beach Boulevard and Pacific Coast Highway. Probably the best selection of surf bait of any shop in Southern California. Be sure to check those guys out. The news down there is, there's been a lot of perch. Of course, there's been a lot of medium-sized, some a little bigger models, that 10 to 12-inch model in the Huntington Beach area, particularly around the Huntington Beach cliffs. So that's really about Golden West Street all the way down to the Bolsa Chica Inlet. That zone has been really good in there. Also, the zone for perch that's been good has been the Newport jetties. They continue to kick out some of these medium-sized perch, and most of those fish are really close to the jetties. And then there's been some down by the wedge, right against the jetty at the wedge there. So try some of those spots out. Last but not least for Orange County, as they continue to have a really good bite on yellowfin croaker. A lot of these yellowfin have been biting in the evening. Remember, they school up in big schools, so if you catch one, there's a good chance you can catch a whole bunch of them before that school moves off. Look for them in or near the surf line and birds diving on their area. They will often push up anchovies, sardines, smelt, grunion to the surface and feed on those, and it brings the birds, and that's how you can normally see where their groups of them are. Along with striped bass, they do basically the same thing right outside the surf line. And some great lures to use for them is crocodiles, 1/2 ounce, 3/4 inch crocodiles, 1/2 ounce and 3/4 ounce Castmasters. Both of those really shiny. They go after shiny things. They work great in the surf. Remember to use a fan casting motion down there where you're casting at 12 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock. You're covering that area with maybe 5 to 10 casts. If no bites, move on down the beach 100 yards. Go through the same pattern again. And one thing about those yellowfin, like perch and corbina this time of year, they'll always congregate near the rocks. It'll always be near rock structure, someplace where they can hide. Not the case with those yellowfin croaker. They are always roaming up and down the beach. Look for them all along the beach, either boiling on the surface or having birds attracted to the action that they're making underwater. And then last but not least, down to San Diego. Not a lot of reports in San Diego, quite a few small perch down in that area, but the big news down there continues to be the bonita fishing inside the harbor, but in particular, how much halibut fishing has picked up both inside Mission Harbor and San Diego Harbor, primarily as a result of all of this anchovy in the receiver now, which is just candy to those halibut. I think we're going to see some of the best halibut catches of the last decade, probably going to be this year. And man, if you can get some of that fresh dead chovy and take it down to the beach, especially around these grunion periods that are going to come up in about 45 to 60 days or so, you're going to have some really good luck with some big halibut down there. Just fish them on the Carolina rig. Be sure to hook them through the bottom of the chin all the way through the nose. That'll hold their mouth closed. That way, as you're slowly retrieving them across the bottom, they'll look like a fish and they won't be spinning in a circle with their mouth open. So that's our fish report for this week. And until next week, good luck down at the beach. I hope you catch some fish. I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for watching our surf fishing report. To learn more about surf fishing, go to yoursaltwaterguide.com, where you'll find videos, dozens of articles, and our weekly surf fishing game plan to help make you a better angler on the beach. Once again, yoursaltwaterguide.com. Thank you so much for watching.